What's up, everyone? It's Roger and AP here from the DisKingdom podcast, and on this episode, we are going to be discussing Civil War. We're not going to be going into too many spoilers because the movie came out for some reason a week earlier in the UK than it did in America, so I got to see it on Friday. So, Abe, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? That's like, do you want to know the ending?
Absolutely nothing. I don't even want you to tell me who's in the movie. I don't want you to tell me, what character is fighting against what character. I don't want to hear a single thing. This podcast is going to be really short, guys.
Yes.
No,
Well,
tell me the best spoiler-free possible.
Yeah.
How much did you like this movie?
I really, really enjoyed it. It was a great movie. Lots of marvelous stuff in there. Loads of absolutely jam-packed full of characters. Literally, I remember just getting to the end of it and just going, "Can I not have another hour, please?" I literally just want. I think my wife at this point was ready just to literally go, "Is it over yet?" Because it's like funny. 3 hours long. It was a lot of fun. It seemed to sort of set up the story very well. It seemed to set up. I don't know if there was sometimes a little bit too many characters in there, but it definitely seemed to. I do think it managed to refocus back on its original characters, sort of towards the end bit, which I think was exactly what was needed, because it's not an Avengers movie, and that's the thing is it's not about all of them. It's about a few of them, and I think they do a great job of kind of working around that, building up to it, and then bringing it back a bit, but also branching out. I think that's the great thing of all these movies later. They can just bring in Hawkeye, and you don't need to backstory it. Don't need to do anything. He just walks in. Here he is. He does his thing, and he goes off. And that is exactly. You don't need to set him up, and I think that's one of the best things about it.
Okay, and here's a question. I guess this could be, this is pretty spoiler free here. This is the 3-part question. A, was SpiderMan in there just for a cameo? B, did he do something unique and was it important for the story? Don't say what or anything. And C, was Spider-Man even necessary in this movie? So go ahead.
Right, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I loved Spider-Man in this. This was kind of he stole the scenes he was in. My wife was a little bit like she kind of sort of it was kind of funny with Spider-Man because she kind of whispered over, going, "Is that him?" Because when he was just as Peter Parker, because she's kind of used to seeing Peter Parker as Tobey Maguire and Andrew, where they're all 30-year-old men, right? And I'm there going, and I said to her after, he's supposed to be a teenage kid. That's what he is in the cartoons and in the comic books. He was the actors they played were way too old for him, and he's quipping and making little jokes and stuff, and it's like, this is Spider-Man. This is the one that you've been waiting for. He is completely different from the other one. He is wisecracking. He is a kid in a superhero. And it was fantastic. I am so excited for Homecoming. I'm probably more excited now about Spider-Man than I was before after seeing this and seeing him in action. He was so good. As far as being sort of shoehorned in, I do think, in all honesty, had they not introduced him and done it, it wouldn't have changed really Well, there was a pivotal scene where he did have a major impact in it, and he was a major force in it. I'm going to say force as a tip because you'll notice what that could be a reference to later on. Well, there is a little Star Wars in there.
Nice.
But there's a little nod to Star Wars, and there was a joke there which is older people like us would love because of how it makes us feel. Okay. And it's definitely a great thing of how he brought him in. I don't think if they hadn't have brought him in and they just had another hero or didn't even have that hero in there, it probably would have matched up evenly anyway. It did feel like they definitely shoehorned him in to kind of get him ready for his upcoming ones and basically just to set him up as part of the thing. In general, the storyline of how they brought him in, it kind of felt like an extra scene that they just kind of went off and did. But it seemed to work well. And I'm going to be honest, he stole the show in that scene. And it definitely, there was lots of comedy between him and Ant-Man, really and even Falcon and Winter Soldier had a little bit here and there, and I think it was definitely added to the sequence. It kind of, it was such a good. I mean, that airport scene is probably going to go down as one of the best scenes we've seen in a Marvel movie.
I was gonna ask something real quick. Because you kind of said something about earlier about Hawkeye. Like, you don't need to really introduce him; he just comes in, does his thing, and you expect him to because you know who he is. Did they do a good job the same way with Spider-Man? Like, what did he feel like he belonged, or did they set him up? Like, did he need that origin intro type of thing into the story, or was it done well?
It was very much a bit of a quip. It was very much kind of, well, I kind of got bit, and Tony's like, whatever. It didn't really. I'm not interested. There's a little bit of an interest. There's really not. I mean, if that was his origin story, they covered over it in about less than a minute. Awesome. They really did just kind of go. I mean, yeah, my wife did kind of lean over and go, "Is he already Spider-Man?" Because they then kind of told the story a little bit of how it came in and stuff, and there's then there's things with the suit and stuff like that. It was very, very quick. It wasn't.
Did it work though? Is the question.
It did work. It definitely just feels like they just kind of went fast forward. Boom, he's in.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
And you've ended. And also, I mean, to be honest, the same thing kind of happened with Black Panther. His origin wasn't really. I don't know if they're going to wait and flesh that out a little bit more with the movie. He kind of just literally again just drops in, and you're like, who the hell's that? And they literally are like, who the hell is that? And it kind of unfolds a little bit and he's kind of a pivotal character throughout the whole movie, really. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed him because he's like, he's new. I don't know you. I've read a few of your comics. I've read, I've seen bits and pieces about you, but you're new for the screen, and he looks great. And also I think, sounding completely different. Completely different aspect to him at all. I really enjoyed Black Panther, and I'm excited about the movie because I want to know more about him. And I think that's not a bad thing. That's exactly what they needed to do.
All right. How does this movie match up to the previous MCU movies?
I definitely feel like it's kind of funny because I always feel like with the Captain America movie, I was very much in that initial thing, and when they all announced it, Captain America was my least favorite superhero. Maybe not an American.
He's not Captain Britain, so
no. And Captain Britain sucks anyway. But he just kind of it doesn't have that same connection for me. Maybe we don't have that feeling of pride of America and all the rest of it. So it's kind of lost on me. But when you compare this to the other one, it does feel like a continuation from Winter Soldier, and that was fantastic. It feels like they went up a step in what they were doing. I love the fact that the villain is very, very different in this one. This is a very smart villain. The villains, and it is about them and about their conflict, and I think that's very much what is important for this. It definitely doesn't feel like. I haven't seen Batman versus Superman, but that whole kind of thing of you're going into battle with Batman versus Superman, but we're going to drop that the minute we drop a big monster in. There's none of that in this, and that's the best thing about it, and I love that. They didn't just shoehorn in Civil War, and where it goes on from this movie is going to be interesting. I think it may be better than Age of Ultron in terms of Age of Ultron was a great single story on its own, and it had lots of action and stuff. This kind of, it fleshed it out a bit. There's a lot more, it seemed like, I'd almost say, a little bit older level. Like Age of Ultron is like more of a slightly younger audience than Civil War. Civil War's got a lot more content for adults and comic book fans. But no, I loved it. And I can't wait to see it again when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Where would you rank this movie as far as the MCU movies go?
Ooh, it's going to be pretty up to the top, because I think now that they've established everything, you're just in that, that's the scenes with all these characters and just so many people. You're just a bit like, when you grew up on origin movies, this just feels just like this is the movies. This is when you start going. This is what we've been waiting for. Proper movies where everything is interlocking and different characters, and and it's not just all comes from Krypton and his parents got killed, that kind of thing. It's just it's just great to sit there and go, this isn't they did not kick off with an origin story, and I just love the fact that it's different. As far as against other ones, yeah, definitely say it's pretty high. Maybe a little bit under Avengers, in the Avengers kind of Winter Soldier kind of territory, I would say, for me personally, top end of the tier, because I think they're all working on each other. I really enjoyed it, and like I said, there's some key scenes and some great stuff in there, which I cannot, and I definitely feel as I think Marvel fans are going to walk out of this going, yes. Yeah, good.
Okay. This question is just a yes or no. I don't want to hear anything else. Yes or no. Do we need to stay for the credits?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to hear.
There's
okay.
two.
Okay, and final.
One at the very, 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 very end, and one like halfway through. Just so know, so your wife goes to the toilet.
Here's my
I'm not waiting.
My final question here. Actually, no. Maybe this is a twofer. One is, and don't say anything. Don't just a general answer is: do we get an amazing, like, jaw-dropping cliffhanger towards the end of this movie? And
jaw-dropping.
No, jaw-dropping, not Jar Jar. It's Jar Jar Binks in the movie.
Mr. Captain Fan. Mr. Captain Man. Right, is there a big cliffhanger? I'm just trying to think. It definitely isn't closed.
Okay,
say that.
So the door is wide open, basically. Okay, and finally, do we get, last question? Just again, yes or no? Do we get any hints? Any hints of Doctor Strange in this movie?
Other than the trailer at the beginning of the movie,
I guess not.
No, I'm just trying to think. Actually,
like, no, is there something? Because remember, like, during Phase 1, they used to set up each following movie.
Yeah.
So obviously on Ant-Man, we got a taste of what Civil War was going to be like. So it's like, did we have like a little taste of Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch as Mr. Strange?
Yeah, I think they did. I think there was scenes that were more set towards the other two characters that got introduced rather than Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I'm just trying to think. No, I wouldn't really say there was any reference. There was maybe a little bit of reference to. No, there wasn't any reference to magic or so. But I do feel like Doctor Strange might be on his own for a little bit on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So as far as the movie goes in general, for everybody else who's listening, what would be your rating? If you, from 1 to 10.
From 1 to 10, I'd give it a 9. I loved it. I thought it was great. It met my expectations. I'm like 4 days on, and I'm still like, yeah, this was great. This was great. This was great. Love this. Love that. I think there's a couple of scenes that you're just going to want to watch a few times over and over again. I mean, there's some great comedy moments. There's some great one-liners. SpiderMan, I'm just so ready for him because he just really did steal the show. I'm not going to overestimate the fact he's not in it long. He's not in it, he's not in it for 2 hours or anything, but he definitely stole the scenes he was in. Yeah, and Paul Rudd definitely he was great in there as well. He kind of really added a little bit to it.
I already saw it.
Really good movie. Yeah, it's definitely worth. I would say if you are going to see it, go see it. If you're on the fence, this again, it's quite funny. I think they put out previews a few weeks before the movie came out. There's been a lot of talk about it in terms of and I think the DC fans are going, it's Marvel's fault. Batman vs Superman sucked. This is like,
sure.
Nope. This is because Marvel hit they hit another home run and they just did it. See a little American reference there as well. There we go.
Okay. Actually, I do have one more question before we go. And this, you cannot answer this question based off of what you've seen in this movie. Pretend you haven't seen the movie, okay?
Right.
Are you Team Captain or are you Team Iron Man? So you can't base it on whatever outcome we get. What have you been?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, see, I was always on Team Captain anyway because I remember reading
That's what I wanted
the
to-
Civil War comic books because yeah, because their identity they didn't. I think that's the thing. It's nothing really like the books. There's not the storyline is very very different from the comic books.
That's what I've been telling everyone.
Put it away a bit. It's they really didn't go too much into that. They never even addressed like superheroes' safety and by identifying themselves and being on a list. They didn't really even go down that line. They never really kind of that they might have to be registered, and yeah, they kind of missed the whole part of being being unsafe for their families and stuff. Didn't seem to be much of an issue. Wasn't even brought up, which I thought was the major sort of part of the the comic book. So it's less about that, but it's definitely great fun, and I think everyone should definitely want to check that one out.
Well, definitely for us in America and some other countries, we're excited to see it later this week. For those who have the movie out already, haven't seen it, go see it. And for all you Star Wars fans, go check out and see what Jar Jar Binks does in these movies.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check out our Patreon, Ethan, over at sortedouts.com and Magic Band Collectors. And also, you can hit us up on Facebook and all the rest of it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, web swings.